Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna here. Basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation. Basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is India account. In India account, basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is of of SBI account, Amazon account, and earthquake is going to come after 2 days. So here the topic is basically one of the person told that earthquake basically comes in many ways basically. Many ways means there are many ways basically on the base of the earthquake basically comes. That basically everybody know that basically now. In this basically one of the best example basically one of the person has given is in Bangalore city basically Microsoft got the contract of 1,000 buildings, and 1,000 buildings basically they are developing, sorry, they are basically controlling, so that basically there would not be any earthquake. There is not supposed to be any earthquake basically. For that basically Microsoft is telling that we are basically taking the responsibility. Now basically here the main thing is how basically the earthquake chain is connected. For example, one building basically gets earthquake, so it might be connected with the nuclear power company, energy company. So how that is chained basically? How basically it's chained basically? What basically gets effect? So is it that basically the, for example, in one building basically there are set of stable energy. Suddenly basically unstable energy comes, and unstable energy comes means that means earthquake. Is it like that, or basically it's a group basically? Because group can't be possible, because 1,000 building means one building, two building, three building, like this the count happens na basically. That means whenever the 1,000 building was basically getting stabled, that time each and every building basically was planned basically, so that basically it can be stable. Because it might not be possible that basically 1,000 buildings basically be, it might possible that 1,000 buildings might be in different places basically. So the first building, second building, third building, like the individual buildings are chained basically. That is given as a name as stable environment basically. So one of the person told that like this the stable environment data basically are calculated. Same way one of the person told that it might possible that basically if one building of the Microsoft get unstable, that does not mean that basically all building are going to be stable. All building are going to be stable. It's basically might not be there basically. But lots of people says that the India, if it's in India basically, if the data is basically in India, so the 1,000 building is in Bangalore city, so it will be like this only basically. If one building gets unstable, then entire 1,000 building will be going to be unstable. Why? Because the India energies and the nuclear power company and the power companies creation is like that basically. Because they groups the environment basically. So whenever basically the one building is going to be unstable, that means that all the 1,000 buildings are going to be unstable. The 1,000 buildings are going to be unstable basically. So the creation of India basically is like this basically. So one of the person told that if assume that basically the earthquake basically came just now basically it was earthquake. Just now basically in few country basically the earthquake basically came. So that is basically chained with India country, or basically it's not chained with India country basically. That basically how one of the person told that how basically it can be tracked. For example, in Japan basically earthquake basically was came. So in that basically Indian nationality were also there basically. So one of the person told that is it possible that basically you can track the earthquake nationality wise? Nationality wise basically chaining is possible. Then he told that nationality wise also basically one of the type of earthquake is there basically. So education wise, nationality wise, each and every basically side the earthquake basically happens. So earthquake basically happens like this one also. Earthquake happens like this also basically. So another person told that how basically this is changed basically. Because nowadays the world is digital. One of the person told that WhatsApp is basically one of the way basically where Japan is also using WhatsApp and India is also using WhatsApp. So through WhatsApp basically the environment controlling is possible basically. One of the person told that also. For example, anybody bodies basically want to control through WhatsApp basically you can control his body. Then one of the person told that that is possible na basically. So if they can control the body from WhatsApp, then building control is also possible. Building control is also possible na basically. So one of the person told that uh, assume that basically in Microsoft basically is handling 1,000 buildings. Microsoft is basically handling 1,000 buildings, and suddenly basically he told that basically a few buildings basically are getting unstable basically. Reason is that 1 crore data basically from where the energies are basically calculated, that 1 crore data basically is due to some reason basically, due to some uh, investment not done by the Microsoft group, government basically fired that 1 crore investment people basically. Sorry, 1 crore energy giving people basically. So Microsoft basically tracked that basically. The government has basically fired those people basically. Why? Because Microsoft was told that basically please do the investment. He basically has not done the investment basically. So they fired basically Microsoft Energy. That was basically 1 crore. In this basically government basically helped. Government used their people. In that their people basically one of the people is WhatsApp. Because WhatsApp is used in Dubai also, Ajman also, the Abu Dhabi also, Saudi Arab also. They are basically getting used in Japan also. So one of the person told that like this basically they unstable the data and earthquake basically happened. So you can just imagine basically how the earthquakes basically are happening basically. How the earthquakes are happening basically. Through WhatsApp also basically you can give the earthquake basically. So one of the person told that WhatsApp is also responsible for currently basically third world war going to happen. In that basically he will be also responsible for that. Then few people basically told that yes basically he will be responsible basically for third world war if it will happen basically. In that basically WhatsApp is basically created by one of the Indian nationality person. So one of the person to the then basically the Indian nationality also basically is going to jump in third world war. Then the expert basically told that basically yes basically if the WhatsApp basically is going to be used across the world, then basically India also have to jump into third world war due to WhatsApp creator because he is from India. So one of the person told that, Sunil, do you have the list of data basically that from WhatsApp basically how many body parts was basically damaged? That was basically interesting question basically. That type of answer basically who might be having? Who might be having? Then one of the person told that doctors no, basically they might be having because doctors have the list basically how this body part was damaged basically. For example, my head was damaged. So doctor basically whenever they do the MRI scan, this scan, that scan, they basically have the information that through this equipment his head was damaged. So one of the person told that if basically we can calculate basically how many body parts was damaged from the WhatsApp basically software, then the list basically can be list. So in this basically by default India also came because the person who created the WhatsApp he's from Indian basically, he's a Indian nationality person basically. So by default India, that is the BJP government, Congress government, Aam Aadmi Party, everybody came into this. Because India means this only, na, basically. Political parties. Political parties basically that are Indians basically. So like this basically from WhatsApp also basically you can give the earthquakes. He basically has done nothing basically. He has basically done nothing basically. He has, do you know what he has done? He basically damaged, he basically attacked that 1 crore Microsoft energy people. In this energy people basically he just damaged Microsoft energies basically. That's all basically. He has done his task basically. Now basically the 1 crore people basically whenever the energy of the 1000 building basically is going to be captured, that time basically it's a earthquake. So in WhatsApp also came into the picture. WhatsApp group basically, because one person basically can't do anything. So entire government basically came into picture due to WhatsApp. Lots of people say that WhatsApp though is created from America basically, but that is in front of the world basically, and whatever it's in front of the world basically that is wrong basically. Reality is this, that he is basically created, WhatsApp is created from Indian nationality. So in this Indian government also came into picture, because without Indian government basically he can't launch this many big level of WhatsApp basically. And WhatsApp is used in many countries basically. In that Japan is there. Japan just now basically earthquake came now basically. If you want to track basically, there basically WhatsApp also might be used. If WhatsApp is using there basically. Because WhatsApp is getting used like this way basically. Now one of the person told that WhatsApp basically knows that basically this. That his data basically is getting used like this. That is also question basically. That is also question basically. That WhatsApp is knowing this basically. Because assume that basically 1 crore body was damaged due to WhatsApp basically. Big level damage also basically happened. Assume that basically. Head damage, stomach damage, heart damage, leg damage, hand damage. So government basically might be having the list basically. Doctors group basically might be having the list that basically he has damaged. In this basically government also basically approved that basically. Because government says that basically he has done basically that type of things basically, due to that basically we are giving him punishment basically. So in this basically WhatsApp has basically sold his product basically to government, and government are using it basically. That also basically is possible basically. So one of the person told that through WhatsApp also earthquake basically can be given basically. Earthquake basically can be given. So that about like this WhatsApp, all software basically came into picture. Lots of people say that SAP is basically SAP basically owner is from India basically, and he is Marathi basically. But in real basically who is the owner? Some German person basically is the owner basically. But real who is the owner? He is basically from Maharashtra. He is basically origin from Marathi basically. So SAP owner basically is Marathi. So one of the person told why basically it has created like this basically. So see basically 1 crore body parts has damaged basically. So SAP also basically might think that basically somebody might his energy also, and if from his energy basically something get damaged, then that would be the German person. It would not be Marathi. So he will be escaped from here. So softwares are also basically getting used in this way. So now basically about, again back to Microsoft 1000 building. Microsoft 1000 building. So in Microsoft 1000 building basically, one of the person told that assume that basically 1 crore people basically are connected with this energy basically. Because 1 crore people basically are connected with the energies. How basically? That I will tell you. 1 crore, how basically it came basically? In this basically I will take one example. Assume that B level energies, MBA energies, then the doctorates energy, all people basically comes into this 1 crore. On the base of that energy basically the building basically, that is the 1000 buildings is getting handled. 1000 building is getting handled. In that basically, whenever basically the MBA groups are basically going to think, that time basically that time whenever MBA people are going to think, that time that MBA energy is going to activate, and that MBA energy is created from 100 people basically. So 100 people on the base of 100 people, because it might be possible, assume that there are 35 books of MBA. So while creating the MBA energy, the groups basically who are into the energy creation, they basically takes the perfect energy. So it might possible that whenever the one first book basically might have taken from that person groups 2 to 3 people energy, second book basically might have taken from the 3 to 4 people energy, like this basically the 100 people basically are into this 35 books energy. So that basically energies are going to be connected with each and every people basically who are reading the MBA book. So one of the person told that is this can be changed basically. This database is which is mapped basically, that can be changed for specific person basically. That basically is very dangerous basically, because for special person basically the energy basically which he is going to get basically, that can be changed. For example, in this building, near the building basically MBA energy is there, so I am reading the MBA book. So whenever basically I am going to read the MBA book, that energy is only going to connect. So is it possible that to change this MBA energy which I am going to read book to some other MBA energy? Is that possible basically? So that basically comes into the chaining system basically. So one of the person told how basically this can be done here basically. How basically this can be done basically? Is this possible basically? One of the person told that is it possible basically? This comes to there is one concept basically in C++ or basically C, that is called as linked list basically. In linked list basically, one block is there, inside that block basically another block address is basically stored, and in that address basically some data basically are stored basically. So same way basically the environment is also basically handled this way only. Lots of people says that the environment basically which is in the environment basically that is connected with this linked list concept only. But here the question is it possible to, for example, I am reading the MBA book, I don't want basically that MBA energy. So how basically that can be handled? That is the question basically. Is it possible basically? Because he's assumed that basically he's from some Rajashahi family, some king family basically. So he told that basically I want some special MBA energy. So is it possible basically that that person basically who is reading the MBA book, he can get some special MBA energy? For that basically the source must exist, na basically. Source must exist. So few people told that basically that's basically because previous day at the king's time also the management was ongoing basically. That time basically MBA was not there, but that time also management was ongoing. The people were doing the management basically. So that was also MBA only, no basically. Master in Business Administration only that they were doing, but there basically the MBA degree was not there. But now the MBA degree has created, 35 books are created, 35 books the 1000 cities are created, and in the 1000 city, from 1000 city the 100 people basically are taken from that 1000 cities, and they are from their basically bodies the MBA books energies basically are getting generated. So whenever basically anything changes basically happens in MBA energy, that means the 100 people basically are doing something changeable task basically. And blood keeps on processing basically, changes basically keeps on happening. So whatever the changes basically they are going to do, that idea basically is going to affect to that each and every buildings basically where their MBA data basically are kept. So that's why that person, special group basically person told that basically, is it possible that basically I can take some special energy? So that basically connects to very dangerous topic basically. So is this possible, which I am telling, that is possible basically, that is possible. Why? Because the entire environment basically is mapped on the base of linked list basically. In C++, there is one concept basically called linked list. So through that concept basically the entire environment basically is handled basically. But here basically it might be in binary format, because in C++ basically data might not be exist in environment basically. So that is basically, lots of people say that in which language basically the C++ is created basically. C++ is also created na basically. So that is also thing basically. Lots of people says that Java is created from C. Lots of people says that Java is created from VC++, which basically executed from, which basically is not existing in the market only basically. But lots of tasks basically has happened from VC++ also. One person told that I basically want to damage his head, and nobody is supposed to track that also. So in that basically VC++ was used, that basically expired in the environment basically. So one person basically want to track basically who actually damaged his head basically. So that is also possible. So that comes to special data basically. If anybody anything basically special data basically want to send basically, then basically you can send that data basically. So another person told that, yeah, basically, so is this thing possible basically? One person is reading MBA. He basically told that basically I don't want that MBA energy. So is this possible basically? One of the person told that also. Is it possible basically? Then he told that basically MBA is basically created from 1,000 cities, and that is the only source basically which government basically have. So government basically, whenever people basically are enrolling into MBA, they basically are sending data from that 1,000 cities only. And in the 1,000 city basically you can't take directly the 1,000 cities. The middle basically, because human basically is human basically, he only can take the human energy. So for that the 100 people basically are selected, and from that 100 people basically one MBA energies are created. So that MBA energy basically human is going to exist, human is going to capture basically whenever they are going to read the MBA book. So now one of the person told that, is this possible that for this particular person special MBA energy can be generated? Is it possible basically? One of the person told that also, because whenever he is going to read the MBA book, that 100 people basically who generated the environment, generated the energy of MBA, that is going to only captured from his, that is only going to connect to his body basically. But here the problem is, whenever that 100 people are going to change their mind, going to change the MBA concept, lots of basically they, it might possible that they might be working somewhere, or basically they might be doing some process. So they basically can do some lots of manipulation basically. In that manipulation the MBA energy also will get process, and that is going to affect to that MBA energy from where the 100 people basically collected the energies. From 100 people basically MBA data, MBA energy data are basically collected. That is going to affect basically. So one of the person told that, for this basically what is the solution basically? One of the person told that, one solution basically they told that basically there is only one source basically which government basically have, that is just 1,000 cities basically. Because government is telling that basically we have created the source basically for the MBA special. The person this basically connects to education business basically. This connected to education business. Lots of people say that nowadays basically the world has, education has converted into the business. So this is actually the business basically. And the MBA group basically, for example, there are 1 crore MBA. So that 1 crore MBA people basically are going to do the investment basically in that 1,000 cities only. They basically don't know that they are, whatever investment basically they are doing, they are going to do in the thousand cities. That basically the banks group basically, that are the directors, managers, senior managers. They basically bankers. They basically do the investment basically in that thousand city. So like this, the thousand city is getting invested. Like this, the MBA groups basically are telling that basically we are also growing. So one of the here the question is what? Special energy basically for MBA, is it possible? Government told that basically there is only one source basically we have basically, that is the thousand cities. So he told that basically from where this thousand city was created, from which data basically this thousand city was created. That person basically asked the question. So in next video basically we are going to see from where this thousand cities are created, on the basis of which energies this thousand city are being created by the Indian government. That is by default SBI groups, and SBI groups are only basically into these creations because they only have the authority basically.